Okay, let's go to Roger's report, administrative report.
Okay, Public Works, they're continuing with the utility boxes and getting ready for installation of the new water meters. The Public Works crew has also been doing some of the crosswalks around the school and throughout the town, stop bars, curb marking, and directional areas. And further, in tonight's agenda is a resolution for some one-way streets, and that'll culminate with some extra work for the city crews to do some striping. Planning, the home occupancy is in front of you tonight for the second reading. It's been through the Planning Commission, and we'll find that it'll be a significant step in curtailing a lot of commercial use in residential areas that's taken place over the times. The ARCO station and the fuel center, that's been continued, and it won't be considered tonight, and I think that's scheduled for September the 18th. And we're continuing to work on the subdivisions. It was recently the Planning Commission denied the Copperleaf subdivision, so it's kind of a setback for the city because we had eyes of getting a well site and them participating in drilling a well for us, but we'll continue to move forward on our new wells. The top priority is to get these water wells drilled. The state water resources is breathing down our neck, and they're getting a little bit antsy.
So we probably lost our place in line for the drilling.
Yes. Yeah.
So we lost our place in line for the drilling. Now that we haven't finished with the Copperleaf, and we're also having to go back with the Karasaki property too.
And I've discussed it with Kurt Karasaki. He's agreeable for the site, and so now we just have to cross the T's, dot the I's, and get everything ready to go back to the state, and then authorize and go out to bid and then start drilling. So.
On the water meters, Roger, is on the smaller boxes, are we going to install larger boxes to accommodate?
Yeah. We've had a few complaints where we've been digging up the boxes and then getting the smaller ones out. We leave kind of a hole there, and then we come back and then set them. And it's to bring the new B19 box into effect so that there's more room, because all those new boxes, the water meter will be there, and then we have a bifurcation route that all new homes have to be put in fire sprinkler systems, so it's a dual purpose box.
Oh, okay. So you are upgrading the boxes as you can?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about the ones in the concrete, in the sidewalks?
Well, if it's a small 40 box that was done in the 40s, we're going to have to jackhammer those out and put the bigger ones in. I think yours is all right. It's standard, because that's the recent one that was put in by the 209 infrastructure project. That's adequate.
I don't want to.
I'm talking about the 40 boxes are only about 6 inches wide.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions? Okay. We'll move on to report. Oh, City Council reports is next. Anybody have any meetings to report?
Yeah, I had a COG meeting. Basically, the COG meeting's been kind of aimed at redoing what was proposed, the sales tax one to fix the streets. And then they have come up with a couple of different proposals for State Route 152. 152 is at 10th Street. No, not 10th.
Yeah.
Is it 10th? Yeah, in Gilroy. And moving it further south, they got 2 or 3 proposals there that if they excuse me, if they do that, it might take some pressure off of 156, or at least this section of 156. Trucks would go further up, and then it would be an easier route for them. The thing that I found interesting was COG did a local funding and needs for maintenance study. Pretty disheartening, really. In the city of Hollister, their average annual funding is $1 million. Their annual need is $7.9 million for a shortage of 6.9 million. County of San Benito, average annual funding is 1.85 million. Average need is $34.6 million. City of San Juan Bautista, average annual funding, now this is the funding that we get out of the STIP funds, and that it's not our impact fees or anything, $100,000, and they had a TBD, to be determined on ours. So I talked to Roger, and in your packet you have this, it's striped in green, but most of the things that are on that list are, what would you call them, wish list, Roger? It's not fixing a street like, say, Fifth Street or something like that, but the roundabouts and different things like that. So, I don't know, our need is probably $400,000 a year, maybe more, just to maintain the roads that we have. And so there again, and I don't think this was really explained to the voters when P came up on the ballot, that, you know, COG made a mistake in saying that 50% of that money was going to go to Highway 25. Well, naturally, everybody over here, what do I care about 25? And we really did a poor job of selling that. And so now we're going to have to wait until 2018 to get something on the ballot. And so in the meantime, as our supervisor Anthony Vitello says, we're headed for dirt roads out in the county. And that's my report.
Thanks, Tony. LAFCO had nothing for San Juan, so I have no report.
We had the fire report.
The fire report is this great charts with all the pictures so that I now know what they're talking about.
Basically went over calls, strength management. They're still waiting for the SAFER grant. Everybody's still intact for that. They did bring in the new water tender. Was able to display that at the fire council meeting. It's quite a piece of equipment. And that was pretty much about it. Yeah. Pretty standard of what we had. That was it for me.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What happens if they don't get that SAFER grant?
It's pretty much going to go back to what the original contract was. The hard part is that San Juan was a reserve-driven station, and without the strength of the reserves, they're going to probably have to backfill out of that contract. By placing two over here.
But we'll still have.
Yes.
And the SAFER grant was only a temporary thing to begin with.
Well, that's what I understand. It's only, you can only get it for 2 years.
2 years twice. We've had it for 2 years. We're trying to get it for another 2. But the point is, you have to do something in the process. It's to buy time for small cities is what it was for.
Yeah, it's more of emergency funding so that you can get your bearings going, so you can say, okay, this is how we're going to be able to hire these people on permanent. Since nobody was hired on permanent, I think that's kind of a distraction of why the SAFER grant hasn't gone through right now.
Okay. Jim, you have any report?
No, same thing.
Okay.
We also will have something later on in the in the meeting to talk about kind of direction where we're going to go in fire.
Okay. All right, report by Neighborhood Watch. I don't think Eric is
We don't
here.
have Eric here?
No.
Their meeting was canceled anyway, so
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
probably not much.
Yeah.
Summertime.
All right, we'll go to number 5, public hearing items. A, consider approval and adoption of the revised mitigated negative declaration.
No, that's
That's continued?
yeah.
Yeah. 5A is continued.
Oh, okay.
I need a motion to continue to a date certain. So we don't have
To a date
renotice over the
certain,
public
or-
hearing. Yes, to a date certain.
What would be the next, what's the
September the 18th.
October.
Excuse me, October.
October 18th? I move that we,
September. No, we're to September 20th, is October the 18th, yeah. October 18th, yeah.
I would move that we postpone this till October 18th.
18th, yeah.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call?
Councilmember West?
Yeah.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martorina is absent. Mayor Edge?
Yes.
All members
That
of
was
the
to
council-
continue,
all
right?
members of the council
Yes.
present, the motion is stated by the name passes 401.
Okay, thank you. 5B, consider approval of ordinance regulating home occupations and permits for home occupations. This is second reading and adoption.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the ordinance here is the second reading and adoption. It was introduced at your last meeting. It basically, the Planning Commission reviewed the home occupancy. Currently, our municipal code doesn't have any controls on people conducting business out of their homes. We felt that it was necessary to establish some criteria, and when we went through, a permit will be required in the future for home occupancy, and then there are, and 110750 is we have prohibited certain things to occur in residential areas, adult businesses, guns and ammunitions, massage parlors, healing, mini storage, and stuff like that that's really dissident to a residential area. And we were trying to frame it to where it's more professional offices and little dressmaking, institutional internet sales and stuff like that, that would be non-invasive to the standard living standards that you'll find in residential areas.
Okay, any questions on the item? We'll open it up for public comment. Do we have any speaker cards on this? No speaker cards? Okay. Did anybody want to speak on this item? Okay. Close the public hearing. Bring it back to the council. Need a motion?
I'm just curious how we're going to police this.
It's policed through the planning department, code enforcement.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'd,
And then you, like most things, it requires a use permit, and there's some conditional use
Yeah.
permits, and so they've got to come to City Hall to open up the businesses.
okay. You can do it. You want-
Yeah. I move that we pass an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista approving regulations for home occupancy permit and amendment of the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code to add section 11-07 home occupancy regulations. The ordinance number 2016-04.
04.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call?
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martorina? Absent. Mayor Edge?
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the name passes 401.
Thank you. Okay, now the next 1, 2, 3, 4 items are already marked as continue on the agenda, but we still need a motion to continue each one.
You do all-
If you're going to continue, they all need to be to a date certain, but you can table them, and then they can come back at any time, which I don't know if that's a good idea, Rogers.
Yeah, I think we could table them and everything. The only reason we canceled it is that we didn't want it to run into the ARCO where it would be a big hearing, and we didn't have the time. So, and if we knew better, we could have handled a lot of those. But we can continue it till
Table it.
table it. Yeah.
Table? So when we table, do we need a motion?
No.
No? Okay. So do I need consensus of the council, or I can just do it myself?
You
or-
go ahead and get a consensus.
We're nodding.
Go
We're
ahead,
not
you're
gonna
in
do it.
charge.
Okay. We'll continue items C, D, E, and F to probably the next meeting. All right.
Continue.
I'm sorry, not continue, table.
Table.
Okay. Item 6A, approve resolution approving,
I'm going to have to...
oh yeah, you
get
want
out
to
of here
recuse
because it's
yourself,
so late.
okay.
It's in front of my house.
Yeah. Approve resolution approving a stop sign at Franklin Street.
Over the last few years, we've had a lot of discussions about the safe sight distance at the corner of Franklin and the Alameda and 3rd Street, at that intersection right at Donna Astor's. And even myself was experienced where when you're coming westbound on Franklin Street and making a left-hand turn onto the Alameda, you've got an inch out there and then you're pretty much in another travel lane just to see the sight distance. And we felt that it was important maybe to address this by establishing a four-way stop sign at this intersection. And when we analyzed that, we felt that that was a good remedy for the safety of the pedestrians and vehicle traffic. But then we got looking at the width of Franklin Street westbound from 3rd to 4th, the narrowness of it, and particularly during the day when cars are parked on each side of the street, it does not allow two cars to pass each other. You have to wait and then maneuver around it. And so we felt that maybe a one-way street was more appropriate for a westbound traffic from 3rd to 4th, and that created a conflict because people heading two ways there. So we looked at Pierce Street and we said, well, maybe that's the best way to reroute them and go eastbound and come into the Alameda, and kind of like a round bobbin and stuff like that. So when we looked at the whole area, we came up with a one-way traffic pattern westbound on Franklin Street from 3rd to 4th, and a eastbound one-way traffic from 4th to 3rd, and that'll give us some continuity. In addition, we took a look at the parking on the Alameda from Pierce Street to Franklin Street, and we decided that it's wide enough to where we could go with angle parking in front of the brewery as well as the J&J Burgers, and increase that to about 12 parking spaces versus the 6 now that it requires.
Roger, do we have a street or alleyway that goes to the homes that are parallel with the soccer field?
That's Pierce Lane.
This Pierce Lane.
That's
That's
Yeah.
Pierce Lane,
That's
yeah.
also Pierce Lane.
I mean,
Yeah.
same name.
the
Yeah.
dirt road that comes
Pierce,
through.
they call it Pierce Lane, yes.
Pierce Lane, okay.
Okay, any questions?
We're not going to have a stop on Pierce coming onto the Alameda?
No, we were going to relocate that stop sign at the Pierce and the Alameda to Franklin and the Alameda.
Don't you think maybe we should have a stop sign on Pierce? Not on the Alameda, but on Pierce? to keep them from,
There is an existing, I didn't put it on there, there's
Oh.
already an existing
Oh,
sign
oh,
there.
oh.
So we didn't have
Pierce
to
onto
install it.
Alameda, that one
Yeah.
there when we were.
Yeah, I should have probably pointed that out.
More
There
the
is an
southbound.
existing stop sign already there. Yeah.
Do you
As-
think in the future we
as-
might want to look
as-
at one?
As well as westbound on Franklin Street at 4th Street, there's already an existing stop sign there, and I didn't identify that as a new stop sign.
So the stop signs at Pierce and the Alameda will both be moved up to,
The one at
Franklin.
the Pierce and the Alameda will be moved up to the intersection right in front of J&J Burgers.
okay.
Now, that's a little bit more complicated because we're striping a larger pedestrian crosswalk there and then bringing that sign out further into the street. So it's going to be out there about 11 to 12 feet.
We're going to have like a curb there?
Curb, yeah, right.
Okay.
so the other end of Franklin, going up, I would say going up the hill, that's still gonna be two-way.
Well, it's basically a private lane. It's not a public, so we don't control that. We did install, as part of the brewery, we're going to install a stop sign at that Pierce Lane when the brewery gets
I mean
complete.
Franklin Street.
Oh, on Frank,
Between
From-
Georgiana's and Donia's.
oh, that's going to be a two-way
Oh, okay.
until we examine that. We're running into a few problems of the how this is going to be interfaced with the state park and the number of buses that go in there and how we can route that. And we've been looking at it about maybe bringing them down Washington Street and prohibiting them from going down 2nd Street and then making that turn and down to Franklin Street and vice versa. So it's a little bit more complicated, and we're kind of looking at it more in a regional area.
Yeah, you can't just do Franklin, you'd also have to do Second
Yeah, right.
by the
Yeah,
Staples.
and I know that the buses come in on the Alameda, they turn on Franklin, make a right turn on Franklin, and then a left on 2nd Street, and
It's
according
a
to
tight,
Georgiana, that is really,
it's a tight bend. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, we used to have a hard time getting the engine around the corner.
Yeah.
But what about directing the buses with signage?
Well, we
Take
have.
Washington to
Yeah, we had
4th
some
Street.
pamphlets that encourage the buses to park at the soccer field lot and then let the kids walk up there. But there seems to be a resistance, and the school buses, the state park allows them to park out there in that wide area right by the plaza and unload, and then they go down and then park on 2nd Street between Mission and or Mariposa and McCullamy, all the way down. Then we approached the church, and we had consensus there that if the kids are attending the church, that the buses could park on the empty lot next to San Juan Street. But there's a resistance there. That very few go down there, so it's more maybe an educational process.
What do you think?
remember when we had thought we had everybody in agreement, and whatever happened to that?
Yeah, it's kind of fizzled. Yeah. But we still have those brochures, and every once in a while we'll pass them out to the bus drivers so that they know that the soccer field is the first priority, and the second priority would be the open field next to San Juan Street.
I'm thinking we ought to prohibit buses on Franklin and tell them to go one block further to
Like a truck route.
Washington.
Washington, yeah.
It's a lot easier swing there.
Yeah, it's much wider.
Well, let's take a look at that and see if we can do that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That would make it a lot easier. Yeah.
Okay, do we have any speaker cards on this item? No? Okay, so we'll open and close the public hearing.
I'm just trying to picture it in my head. Okay, if you're coming down Franklin, You have a stop sign there before you go onto the Alameda. You have a
You
stop-
can either go left or right.
Right, and what I'm trying to remember which one it was. It seemed like it was hard to see. Oh,
Franklin
okay,
looking
now with
onto
the stop
Third
sign,
Street.
you
But
don't
with the
have to
stop
worry
sign
about
there,
it. 'Cause
yeah.
Before you, trying to look to see if anybody was coming towards you on the Alameda.
Third Street.
Says Alameda here.
Isn't Third
Yeah,
Street?
you
right
had,
at
you had to
Franklin?
be out there
Third
before you
Street
could
changes
see.
right there at Franklin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it
you
changes
can't
right
see
there.
on the Third Street, you can see on the Alameda.
Yeah, the sight distance
Yeah.
to the Alameda is okay. It's looking to Third
On the
Street,
Third Street.
Yeah.
the southbound traffic, and that's the problem.
Yeah, okay.
And I thought I was going to address it a couple of years ago when I installed the 15 mile an hour signs, and it would slow it down so that then it would be a little bit safer.
It helped a
Yeah.
little.
And the people that recognize it are more out-of-towners in the 15, but it's the locals that
Yeah.
ignore
right.
it.
Yeah.
So you need a motion to approve this?
Yeah, we need a motion to approve the resolution.
Is it-
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Councilmember West is absent. Councilmember Bach?
Yes.
Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martirena? Absent. Mayor Rich?
Yes.
3 members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the mayor passes 302.
Just to correct, West wasn't absent, he had a conflict of interest.
He was excused.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey,
Bob?
John?
Is it Bob?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Bob?
John McCormick, isn't it?
No, that's Bob Fulton. John McCormick's the other guy.
Oh, okay. Okay,
That's Bob Fulton.
we go to 6B. Maybe I should wait for Jim. No, he'll hear it.
Hey,
Okay, 6. I can go ahead.
Yeah, no, in discussing this with our city attorney, we're going to continue this item.
6B,
6B.
development impact fee adjustments.
Yeah,
Okay. Table it?
table it, yes.
It's tabled. Okay.
That's John McCormick. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So do I live on a street now?
Nope, it was turned down.
We turned your house into
Yeah,
a public
yeah.
restroom.
My house is a private restroom.
Not anymore.
Okay.
Oh, you have bus parking now too.
That's all right, I just put my trailer out there with my truck on it.
There's an ordinance for that too.
Okay, we have item 6C, approved resolution supporting formation of a fire protection district. So, are you folks on the fire committee going to?
Yeah, actually, if you
Discuss
want,
this.
I'll take over on that. We've always been talking about a district through the county, city of Hollister, and San Juan. This isn't to say that we are going to go to a district. All we're going to do is pretty much entertain the idea and to say that, we will join with you in looking into a fire district. It's not going to, we're not going to be a fire district. We're only looking into an idea of how we want to present it, how we want to run it. In this way, that'll show that San Juan would like to participate in looking into a district. The city of Hollister is going to be coming up with a resolution with the same, and so would the county. So when we go back to our next fire council meeting, we will present either we have a resolution that we do want to participate, so we can get everybody who is going to be involved in this fire district to at least start talking, get the communications open. There might be a consultant hired into looking into a district and what it's going to take, and we might do it in-house, but we will be following in. And all we're trying to do is to do what's best for the public, and what would be the easiest way to level the field of everybody, paying their equal and fair share. So by this resolution, all it's really going to be saying is that we're going to just open up the communications with the city of Hollister and the county to look into a fire district. It may come back to where we may not want to be a district. We may want to keep it private. We may want to go on our own. The county may want to go on their own. The city of Hollister may want to go on their own. But all this is doing is just opening up a communication for that.
Okay, any questions?
No, just
questions?
people need to know that if the fire district were to come into being, there would be tax. There would be a special tax for that. So it would tax it. And I think the new homes are paying their fair share for fire, but I'm not. I've got an older home and I'm not paying what they're paying. And that would change that, and so they'd reassess me for it. So know that there would be a special tax for a fire district. We don't know if we're going to do it. We just want to take a look at it. We need to change some things and need to keep up.
So right now, we're paying the city of Hollister for fire service. Would that cease? Because the tax would
What would
cover it?
happen, I would believe that money would get funneled into the district plus an additional assessment.
Okay.
Or it would cease and one assessment would.
So essentially, it's going to cost more to do this.
It's gonna cost
than what
more.
It's costing now to do
Yes,
it.
right now, we have older homes.
Actually, we would cease our payment into that.
Okay.
And we'd have the analysis of how much it would cost each individual. We might be able to return that in some function.
But the
So
total
there-
cost for older residents within San Juan Bautista would go up with the fire district. But it may be something we have to do, and there'll be open hearings and public hearings and all discussions on it. But I just want people to know that that's what's in store if we go that way.
Yeah.
The
once-
the more involvement, the cheaper it will be. If we have every resident involved throughout the county and the district and cities, it could be as low as $90 a year to $175, depending on the involvement. And that to have 24-hour fire service. We're also looking into another station and more equipment. It'll also open up more channels for grants through FEMA, state, and other local agencies that help out when you have a district. Aromas Tri-County is a district, and how small the city of Aromas is, it works for them.
No, Aromas is not a city, though.
Well, Aromas, the town, small,
The area.
that area.
And I lived there and it worked out well, but I wanted people to know that if we go
Do you
this
remember
way.
what your impact fee was?
No, I don't remember. I mean,
Okay, any public comment cards on this item?
I
No.
got one, I just wanted to see if my question.
Sure.
Mike Urbani, 11 Wani Street. Is this, I understand what you said, this is preliminary, see if this communications, see if it'll work out maybe. Is the plan to possibly either do it on our own or go countywide with Hollister and everyone included in the whole thing?
We don't know. We're going to present all options
Right.
to see which is going to be the best for everybody.
Right.
We really can't do anything unless we all get together
Right.
and say, this is our vision, this is what we'd like to see, how much is it going to cost, bring this back to you, and find, are the people with it, are they against it? But we got to open up the communications.
Right.
And we've been talking about it for 3.5 years on this fire council, but with the SAFER grant in jeopardy, and it's not a cheap service.
No.
It's a very expensive service.
Yeah,
as you know.
and just I think Hollister, I think you asked, or Aromas,
Mhm.
I think it fluctuates depending on what their needs are. So
Mhm.
I think right now they're talking about going to $200, trying to get paramedics on their engine. So I just heard that through a friend. So just answering that
Yeah,
question.
also by adding service so that we'll lower our ratings on our insurance for the
for fire insurance?
Yeah,
what's the SO rating
yeah.
that we have?
5.
5
We're at
now.
an SO rating of 5,
Yeah.
and by being in a district, because you have all these resources,
Right.
maybe get it down to a 4,
yeah,
especially with our water and stuff coming in. That
yeah.
if we get to that 4, people are going to save more than what they're paying each year.
What and just through the last couple of years talking about it or having it on the table, thinking about it. What's the feasibility of the city, just in the city area, being able to be its own fire district?
Well, just unofficially,
Yeah.
we're looking at it for the city to have 2O staffing and a volunteer reserve system. Being able to pay for fire equipment, engine, is around $600,000 a year.
Just for the personnel.
Personnel, equipment, just what's annually budget. Roger, we put in what, 30,000 a year towards fire engine, or
Yeah, we set aside,
Yeah, for
we
reserve.
set aside reserve, and it, it builds up over the years.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if we were just in the city, the engine probably wouldn't have as many miles. We'd probably get 20, 30, or probably good 20 years
Right.
out of an engine, which would be feasible.
Yeah, when you only got a half mile to drive, you know.
Yeah. Remember, you got to come back a half mile.
Yeah. Just one more quick thing. Is there talk of ever, if the city did go to a fire district, taking over part of the county's area or annexing it?
We've also had talks about the west side going from Union
Mm-hmm.
to Rocks Road up to Betterville, in that area through there being part of its own district.
Right. Okay. Cool. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank
And
you.
one thing people need to realize is that when they say fire, it means rescue, it means ambulance and all that. If you look at here, the way we have in this one district, we had 1 fire, 6 vehicle accidents, 18 EMS calls, and 32 other. So to say it's a fire, it's
Yeah.
ambulance, it's rescue, it's a lot of other things other than just fire.
That 90 to 175 a year, is that per house,
Yeah,
per parcel?
I
per
wouldn't-
parcel.
I wouldn't pick
Some
a number
industrial,
right now.
some industrial areas might pay more, depending on, but like a small residential house, he was saying it was around $200, depending on what the needs are.
Would you
I know
say-
that, what was it, 6, 7 years ago, that CAL FIRE had an impact fee. It ended up being for fire prevention, and it was supposed to be fire, impact. And I know some of those people are paying anywhere from $350 to $400 a year per person on the county.
What was your point, Jim? I didn't hear.
Don't pick a number right now.
Oh.
Don't say
Too
a number. You say a
premature.
number,
Yeah.
you say 190, and somebody, that's it, you promised 190. Don't say a number.
Okay. And in order to form the district, do we have to have an election?
We would have to get, when the joint ventures contract came up, you, the mayor, would have to sign it, and you'd have to have a vote on this board, and that'd be open to everyone to talk about it.
Oh, so it'd be,
If we go to an election in the district.
Yeah.
So
whether
if
to
the
go
county,
to an
so if the
election.
county and San Juan wanted to form their own district, there would be an election within that, or if the county Hollister and that, it would be a county-wide.
Okay. But
election.
basically, the people would get to vote on whether to
JPA.
form.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We won't have a fire district unless the majority votes for it.
yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think if it's a JPA, you don't have to go to the ballot. It just has to be the vote of the board. Each board.
unanimously.
That's another option too, is if we had a JPA versus a district. Now, the differences on those is like with the district, if we had Hollister County and San Juan, we'd have 2 people from Hollister on a board, 2 people from the county on the board, and 2 people from San Juan on the board. And those would be the decision makers, so that it would be all on a level field there. And if we did county and San Juan, it'd be 3 and 3.
So if we don't get reelected, we can go on the fire board.
Yeah.
You don't want to do this.
Well, this resolution is for JPA.
To
JPA.
explore a
To
JPA.
explore.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah, but there is no JPA. If we went to JPA and explored it and we decided that we'd have to come back to this board for that,
So this is only authorizing,
an exploration. It's the same way we
A
did with
JPA,
the library. When we looked at all the libraries and all of the thing, we did the
Can
same
we-
kind of thing.
Can we enter into this that also a district? Can we add it to this resolution? Okay. I'd like to add into it as a JPA or district.
oh, okay. In other words, open it up
Yes, open it up. So,
so that you guys don't have to come back and ask for authorization to explore
Right.
that. Yeah.
if you.
Well, this says a district, through a JPA.
I don't think you have
Does
to
that
change
cover
this.
it?
Would
It
that
says,
cover it,
it
or
says
should I-
formation of a fire protection district through a joint power association.
Yeah.
Does
I
that
think we can leave it the way it
cover
is.
both
I think if
situations?
you leave it away, I think it gives you that flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes down to a district, that's going to be a ballot issue.
But I mean, we want to authorize the committee to
Yeah.
explore this.
Because when you get into a district, you got to go through LAFCO and then you got to go into,
Yeah, you guys.
Okay. So this has enough flexibility the way it's worded?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did I
we
ask
already-
for public comment on this
Yeah,
already?
we had one
Yes, you
gentleman.
did.
I did, okay. We're
I feel
done with
like,
that. then. So that's closed. So now, what do we want to do here?
Motion for resolution.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Second?
Okay. It's been moved and seconded.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Locke,
Yes.
Councilmember Lund,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martinez, absent, Mayor Rich.
Yes.
4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes 4-0.
Okay, the next item is selection of a volunteer to honor on Philanthropy Day.
Well, do we have to, 6D,
you
we
want
have to,
to continue the discussion on
Oh.
6D.
6D, yeah.
D.
So
Continue that.
I'll table that also.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so selection of a volunteer. I think we have to do this tonight because they need it submitted
For the philanthropy
by,
dinner?
yeah,
I love that one.
Yeah.
Exhibit on that.
RSVP by the 14th. Where did I see the date in here?
Is that San Juan?
philanthropy day.
Nominees
is
must be
November 15th.
received no later than Friday the 14th. So we do have to move on it tonight. What'd you say, Tony?
No, I was saying the November 15th.
That's when it actually happens, yeah. Is this a new thing? Did we do this?
No, we
No,
did this
15th
already.
annual.
Yeah.
Well,
I
what
went
about
to-
the Chamber of Commerce one?
I went
Isn't
to
that
the
a
last
separate
two.
one?
I went to the last 2 philanthropy
Did you?
dinners. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
I think I went last
Well,
year,
we
but that
picked
was the Chamber
somebody.
one.
We had
Donna
Donna
Holmes.
Holmes, Richard Ponce,
We did Sonora Vasquez too, I think.
Lavarini.
Who- Teresa
Teresa.
Yeah, Teresa Lavarini. I gave her the present.
Levanino.
Lavarini.
so have there been any suggestions as to who we should?
I've got one in mind. Does anybody have any? Have we ever recognized Helena Kleinsmith?
Oh, there's a good
Yeah,
one.
that's a good one.
She's huge. And I mean, on the committee, she works on the
Yeah.
committee.
That'd be fine with me.
You be fine with me?
I think Shauna too.
Shauna Friels.
Shauna Friels would be a good. Do we have to? We only get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Save the name.
Save the name for next year.
Yeah.
I hope I can.
But, well, you want,
I think,
why don't you nominate her? And,
okay. I'll nominate Helena Kleinsmith to be recognized as the National Philanthropy Day celebration on November 15th.
volunteer, a big year.
This is run by the Community Foundation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Locke,
Yes.
Councilmember Lund,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martinez, absent, Mayor Rich.
Yes.
4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes 4-0.
Now, what's the process on this? Do I have to go online, or, did you read this, Connie? Did you have to see?
Trish will be back tomorrow, and she has all the information.
She'll take
And
care of it.
She'll get together with you and. yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
What's the last
We'll
name?
refer it to her. Kleinsmith, yeah. Her husband used to draw cartoons for Rolling Stone magazine.
Right on.
He's got the gallery, what is it, down the street here in the IOOF hall. Bruce. Footsie Nutzel is his.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
who that is.
Yeah,
I never knew.
yeah, that's Helena's husband. Yeah,
Wow.
nice guy.
Small world. Small town.
Yeah. Okay, next item. Closed session evaluation of public employee.
And before we go there, let's go back to the treasury report and.
Oh, okay.
and,
Oh, is Chuck here?
Chuck is not here, so I.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and do that. Which one was that?
That was all the way back in
4B.
4B.
Thank you. I already took that page out. Okay.
Just a brief review, the general fund showed a fund balance with a negative 12, but it was more positive than what we had because it was a negative 124 at the last go around, so it's improving. But the enterprise had a $49,000 swing from a positive 22 from a negative 29, so that's kind of picking up our revenues there. The overall cash balance on hand is improved. However, we still have that debt service, and we just cut a check for $432,000 for one of the installments on the refinancing of our debt service. And that'll be going out probably tomorrow. The payment is due the 26th. General fund revenues were 147, which was higher than budgeted by 10,000. The general fund expenditures were 160, which was lower by 57. So we're watching the expenditures and the revenues continuing to come in. And the fund balance was a negative 12, which was better than budgeted by the $57,000. Enterprise was what we watched because that really funds a lot of our improvements for our new wells and the pellet plant. And they were 274, which was higher than budgeted by $24,000. And the enterprise expenses were 253, which was lower than budgeted by 50. So there's a net swing there. And basically what we're trying to do is defer some of these capital improvements in the sewer and water, and so that we can get the 2 wells drilled and the pellet plant going. And that's the top priorities. And as I mentioned earlier, the state is breathing down our necks to comply with that compliance order that we have to have 2 new wells in by June of 2017. So
2 new wells?
2 new wells.
2 new wells, yeah. Well, the one has to be done by November of this year, but we'll probably fall back. And then the other one has to come on in July of 2017. Enterprise combined debt and income was 22, which was better than budgeted by $74,000.
Did we already start paying back to the general fund?
We approved the refunding of the from the enterprise back to the general fund, but as you recall, I told them to delay the payment till the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
So we know how everything there, and then it'll be just one
That's right.
lump sum that'll go in rather than a monthly stipend.
So, can you answer the warrants?
Yeah.
Okay. What is KS State Bank?
That's the payment for the new meters and meter boxes. We finance it through the Kansas City Bank
Okay.
at 2.2% interest.
And is that a payment until payoff each month? That'll be the same?
Yeah, it's a constant there, and that was a 3-year loan agreement
And our enterprise fund will be able to.
to handle that. Yeah, it's cranked into the cash flow. We had 2 payments there, $11,000. Normally it's $5,700, and so there was we got behind on the first, and so then we had to lump 2 payments in each month. Now it'll be $5,700.
And I see we made our Chamber of Commerce payment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she requested that, And in the city of, the other big one was the city of Hollister, the $38,000. That's our quarterly there.
And all that money we pay the attorneys.
I
Yeah.
know, that's huge.
Yeah.
Dang.
Shouldn't we just do time instead?
Very swell. And I've identified the refunds. There's a lot of refunds and reimbursements. You'll see Overbring Enterprise Environmental. That's a $7,700, and that's all reimbursable through the agreements we have with the thing. And Smith and West Landscape, that's reimbursed through the assessment district. And then we have $1,200 from the Mott McDonald, and that's again environmental issues and everything. And the total refund is about $13,751. So then that gives us really a net of $109,860 of coming out of the general fund and enterprise.
Thank you.
No other items, question? Okay, I had a question on, was it Matt McDonald or Mott McDonald? Is that a refund?
No, that's a reimbursable. That's
reimbursement.
They're the ones that did the environmental analysis for the Arco station.
Oh, okay.
You know, and that's
For the
signed
noise
by,
study?
and that'll be reimbursed. Yeah.
Okay, and City of Hollister is the fire contract,
Yes.
and US Bank is our credit card,
Credit card. Yeah.
and I think that was it. The fine that we pay the water board, is that paid quarterly?
No,
Annually, isn't it?
that's accrued. You know, we don't pay it out and everything. It's accrued, and our balance now is $187,000 we owe. What we negotiate with is we get what they call a supplemental environmental project, and then they give us credit on that to say we're addressing the environmental aspects of the wastewater treatment plant to make it more efficient. So the supplemental environmental project that we've chose there is to remove the sludge and new aerators, and then they'll give us credit of that 180. I think they propose to forego, I think, $137,000 of it. So,
Okay, so anything
And
we
that
do
was-
to improve the
yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
they cover.
and it was, you remember about 3-4 years ago, we did the supplemental for the reclaimed water and finished that reclaimed water pipe
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything, and then they gave us a credit of, I think, $67,000 off of the fee.
Okay,
So it's kind of ongoing, you know.
okay.
And hopefully, I'm also with the supplemental is I'm trying to convince them that once we get with a pellet plant and we will get better quality water going there that will relieve the salts going there, that they can forego some of the penalties and apply it to the pellet plant.
Has anything ever happened with that reclaimed water?
Uh,
I mean, they gave us some money to do it, and then they said we can't use it. I mean,
they finally relaxed the monitoring programs. We went and resubmitted back in there, so it should be coming very shortly. Okay, so that we can start doing it. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. We'll have a green cemetery.
I'd like to turn the cemetery green again,
No, as soon as the rainy season comes, and let it go.
Have the residents been complaining about the brown grass?
yeah.
Yeah,
I thought brown was the new green.
it is. We can paint it.
Yeah, why don't you dye it?
Okay,
We used to do that in the cemetery.
Let's see. Yeah.
do we want to do comments and then go to closed session, or you want to reopen and do comments then?
Let's do comments and then go to closed session.
Okay. Any
How this
comments
is
from
gonna
the
go.
city council? Tony?
I had one, I forgot what it was. Oh, Luis Valdez has been awarded the National Medal of Arts. And he's going to the White House, and President Obama's going to give it to him and several other
Wow.
people. Morgan Freeman is one of them. It's really an honor.
So you're gonna have a San Juan button on there?
Well,
Where?
my comment, the reason I'm bringing it up is I feel, I've talked to Ann Catano about the paper and everything, but I was hoping that, and I talked to Jim last night, being as we don't really have a Chamber of Commerce, and that maybe the Rotary or somebody, we could play on this. I mean, these other people that are getting this award are from LA and New York and all that, and here we have this little town that got this world famous artist, director, playwright, I mean, and
When's this gonna happen?
boy,
October, November? Or?
you caught me, I'm not sure. It's this year sometime. But I don't know. I just thought maybe somehow we could.
Yeah, we could have a day for
We
him,
could,
or we could have a
something-
ceremony, or, after
I know
the
we
thing
had
or
a
before.
You do a
theatrical
proclamation.
day in that, but I really think that I don't know if this sounds right or not, but we could use him.
Yeah,
Well, a proclamation or?
Well, but I mean, to promote San Juan.
Yeah.
That, hey, this neat little town has got this world famous artist, And, so, you're gonna bring it up?
at the
Rotary.
Phil at the Rotary.
Yeah.
who's
Oh,
involved.
that's right, yeah,
Yeah.
you told me
Oh,
that.
there you
Phil,
go.
Phil
And
Esparza is at the
Phil will
Rotary.
know how to promote it.
And,
Yeah. He will.
okay.
And so we get the Rotary behind it and, have a, I mean, it's a big deal. It really is
Oh,
a
yeah.
big deal.
Oh, yeah,
And we're a
it's,
town of less than 2,000 people, and we have someone of that talent living in here.
This is a national award.
It's, I think there's maybe, I don't know, maybe a dozen people that are getting it.
Yeah.
And my son is one, he called me and told me about it, and he said, like Morgan Freeman, the actor, and another author that, me and names. Anyhow, it's
Oh,
a
that's
big deal.
It is a big deal. It is a very big deal.
Well, we should look into that, so the Rotary
Yeah.
will look into it.
Yeah, the Rotary will start it, and then we'll come back and probably for
Okay.
a proclamation, and they will close the street off, and whatever
Yeah.
we can work out onto it.
So the paper's going to do something on it?
Yeah, Ann said she
Yeah.
wanted to do something, but not rehash what's been in the freelance and Benito link.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Any other comments, Robert?
No, I think everybody's doing a good job. And,
Jim? Changed your mind, huh?
No, I just have little cards, so don't be a wise guy.
Okay. City manager comments?
I dropped a little pamphlet off there, Diane's session. She, with the League newsletter, League California City News, she's asked and takes a serious look about Proposition 53, the revenue bond, statewide voter approval constitutional amendment. It could affect us in our ability to future facilitate revenue bonds.
Oh, okay.
Something you can take a look at. And the other one is, as I passed out, is Tony Buck and I, attended that community consortium power association. It's Monterey and Santa Cruz County, and it has a lot of promise and stuff like that, but it's still in the makes and stuff. And they've drafted a a resolution supporting the joint powers authority to get into the power authority and stuff like that. And I passed it out so you can kind of review it. And if the city's interested, then we can continue to go to those meetings. I think Tony and I recognizes that we need a little bit more definitive dollar amount of what they're talking about before we could really make a decision on it and participate. It does has potential.
Thought of you and Tony going somewhere.
Yeah. And from that, I don't have anything. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. No comments. Okay, we're going to adjourn now to closed session, and we'll have to ask everybody to leave, unfortunately, and then we'll come back in and report the results of the closed session and adjourn the meeting. So I don't know how long it'll
I
be,
did
but
this.
you're welcome to wait.
And you'll see it here. In that, your findings.
We turn these